Evening all, I'm with my good friend Chris, known as Chess Explained. So we're here to cover now game 9, isn't it, Chris?
Yeah, should be game 9, right?
Yep.
So we've got 4 games left in the match, and yeah, things get really tight now. Only 4 games left means any mistake might cost the match. So yeah, let's see what happens.
So playing white was Gelfand, and he kicked off with d4, and we saw actually knight f6 from Anand. So that's good because it means that maybe a Slav defense won't occur, and in fact after c4, yes, we see e6, and in fact they've livened up things for the spectators, haven't they? Because usually most GMs will play knight f3 here, won't they? Queen's Indian territory.
Yeah, knight f3 is I'm not sure if it is really more popular. Maybe it is. Yeah, knight e3 isn't so played so often, allowing the Nimzo. But well, on knight f3, Anand usually wouldn't play the Queen's Indian, but would go for a Queen's Gambit declined here.
Yeah.
And this is quite funny because both players actually play this as black also. And the same applies now for the Grunfeld, which also would be an option for Anand. Maybe not with 4 games to go. It's a bit risky maybe for this. But the Grunfeld also was played by Gelfand now in this match. So it's a little bit of a case to choose an opening that the other player has prepared as well. So, but Gelfand went knight c3, which I actually expected.
Oh, you expected?
I'm not quite sure. Not quite sure why. I spoke yesterday to a friend of mine on ChessCube, and we discussed what kind of opening would get, and I guess I'm not quite sure why I came up with this, but somehow I was right. Okay, we got bishop b4.
Okay. Brainchild of Aaron Nimzovich, one of the most influential writers, I think. Well, a lot of GMs swear by Nimzovich, but some don't. I thought, yeah, my system was really good. Nimzovich is my system. Interesting, anyway.
Yeah, well, let's not get into this. We might get some heated debate there. Right.
Okay, Rubinstein's move e3. I remember a club player recommending to me this once. E3, very solid move, Rubinstein. Akiba.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I didn't look up yet what Gelfand usually plays here, which line. I think in general he plays knight f3 on move 3. Or even g3, the Catalan. So the Nimzo is a bit of a surprise. But well, e3 is maybe the main line together with queen c2, and it's I think it's really a good line for those kind of games here, because white is solid, but still it's a strategically complex position that usually arises. It depends a bit on the variation which is chosen, but this is usually leading to an interesting game, and I think we got an interesting game, so let's see what happens. So black castles here, which is maybe the most popular. There are alternatives, of course. Now bishop d3.
Yep. Okay, and I thought this was going to head...
get maybe the...
Sorry, I thought this might be heading for an IQP situation. Well, it becomes more evident that the isolated queen's pawn situation could arise very shortly.
Yeah, we get this in the game.
So d5, and after knight f3, we see c5, and usually this central tension, well, it gives white the isolated queen's pawn here, because I think white's not keen usually on playing c-take. Well, he can, but I suppose it's interesting. What do you think about this? Is there isn't an option for white to go for the isolated queen's pawn, or is it? Would it be that good? White castled here and let black saddle white with the isolated queen's pawn.
Yeah, well, c takes d5. You mean c takes d5 as an alternative?
Yeah.
Yeah. One point could be that black also can take on d4, and then white would get the IQP anyway.
Oh right, yeah.
Just one thing, because knight takes d4 is just a nothing move.
Yeah. And here you got knight takes d5. Yeah, putting more pressure on c3.
Could be possible, but black also after c takes d5 could just play e takes d5 with no particular problems, maybe.
Of course, yes. Whoops.
It's the isolate queen's pawn is not really an issue here for black. I think
It's not isolated anyway. I mean, because that's shielding that anyway now.
yeah, I think castles on move 7 is virtually the only move that is ever played.
Yeah.
So, but after this we've got a big parting of the ways. Here black can play a multitude of setups. What Anand actually played is, yeah, usually called the Karpov line. Karpov played this, I don't know, very often, with very nice results also. The absolute main line still, I think, might be, yeah, maybe the Karpov line is the main line nowadays, but knight c6 would be the classical way to play this. And then after a3, we got the absolute Rubinstein main line: a3, bishop takes, c3, b takes c3, dc4, bishop c4, and so on. It goes on and on. Very complicated also.
Yeah.
So this is a very good line for both players actually to play for win, because you've got those strategic imbalances here. White's got the bishop pair, but the bishop on c1 is not yet really great, so he needs to work to make his bishops count. And black has a nice pawn structure. You can play e5 later maybe. Like so, it's a very complicated kind of position, which is more suitable really if you yeah, maybe want to play for win as black. So I think Anand's choice is very reasonable, and it's arguably the most solid line at all that of all that is possible. So what he played is clarifying the center here, taking on c4 and on d4.
Yeah. So after e takes d4, though, there is potentially this dangerous pin, which makes maybe the bishop look a bit silly, having to sometimes retreat to unpin. But no, there's other ideas just to protect the knight, though, as we're going to about to see. But the isolate.
Yeah, very often.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, yeah, very often black never retreats, but just captures on d3. It's quite unusual to retreat at some point. You usually accept here to take on c3. The kind of position that arises in the game is actually very typical of the variation. So now black plays b6,
right,
and this is the mentioned Karpov line,
right,
and I think white has got lots of options really in this opening. It's very difficult also to study. I tried myself for some time in the past and had really huge problems to figure out all the different move orders and so on. But what Gelfand played here, bishop g5, is a very logical move, I guess, to pin the knight and put some pressure here, also on the d5 square.
Yeah. I think, yeah, black is going to strengthen his grip on the light squares, and when he takes, also c4 as well as d5 and e4, I think are critical for black to put more pressure on soon. But bishop b7 immediately, these two key squares putting more pressure. So you're right, this bishop doesn't have to retreat, and that's not the intention here. The pin is not doing anything particularly at the moment of danger. So queen e2. Okay, so black can't do anything radical at the moment. He'll just be leaving his rook exposed if he tries. There's nothing radical at the moment for black to do, apart from try and set up a blockade maybe on d5 soon.
Yeah, black sets up his pieces harmoniously, and yeah, one idea we will see later. What black tries to do. So knight bd7.
Yeah.
Of course, to d7, not to c6 or anything. You need to keep f6, the f6 knight protected.
Let's have a look at knight c6 then. There will be simply something like knight e4. Putting more pressure on f6, or is there something more crushing here?
Yeah, it's in a way just the wrong square. Maybe just rook 81. I'm not sure.
Oh,
Or
right.
d5. Oh no, d5 maybe even.
Even d5. Ah. Yes, because now there's no taking because of takes and attacking that bishop. And
Yeah,
if takes
this
then knight
looks,
takes is nasty. Oh, there's bishop
yeah, this
e7.
looks very uncomfortable.
Okay.
Yeah, he needs to go knight bd7, which is also really the kind of setup black wants to get.
Mm. Okay, so now rook ac1 was played.
Yeah, here white I think has got maybe has played all legal moves have been tried, I guess. So, but okay, this rook move makes some sense, of course.
And I think this is important, isn't it? Because a lot of openings can lead to this sort of isolated queen's pawn position. A lot of variations in different openings across a whole spectrum of openings can result in this sort of position.
Yeah, but usually this specific kind of setup with the bishop on b4 arises either from the Nimzo, as we got here, also, or from the Panov variation of the Caro-Kann. This is also a very common transposition.
Right.
So Karpov got this setup numerous times, and he played both the Nimzo and the Caro-Kann. This is also a reason why he got it so often, so he could put it up against both these openings. And now we got something which is a bit uncommon, this early rook c8. I looked the theory up briefly before we started the video. It's a bit uncommon, this move, but the setup is the setup which arises is very normal. White now plays bishop b3.
Actually, there's an immediate tactical threat, isn't there, of bishop f3 now? Because if takes, the bishop's hanging, and he doesn't want to play g takes, so that gets out of the way of bishop. Maybe bishop takes f3 was a threat.
Yeah, white needs to do this, and now bishop takes e3. This is important. Black deliberately gives up his bishop, and I'll explain why. But curiously enough, Anand really didn't follow the usual plans there, which is surprising. He played queen c7 now.
Right.
This shows why Black also, in a way, took on c3. He wants a nice secure square for his queen on c7, and this.
Sorry? Oh dear. Have we got a technical issue?
And you'll notice.
Oops. Sorry, you're back. So I didn't hear you for a moment there. Queen c7.
Yeah. So. Yeah. It tells me I've got a connection problem. You still there?
Yes.
Okay, I had some connection problem message here on Skype. So Black has got a nice harmonious setup and did unpin the knight, so he can actually move the f6 knight. And now we transposed here from typical isolated queen's pawn position to a hanging pawn position, because white goes c4 now.
Actually, is there something else going on tactically here? Because c4 does actually support potentially d5, but say white played, a casual move like rook e1. I'm just wondering about knight g4 here. Again, it's like bishop f3 is a threat because of the crude queen h2. But, because there's no d5 interrupting the bishop. Is that possible for black, or is that a rubbish move, knight g4 here? Probably is rubbish. I'm just checking that queen c7.
No. You're absolutely right. The issue is, if you set up the game, it's just the same. You've got white went c4, right? So now now actually the normal move would be knight g4.
The normal move is knight g4 here.
Yeah.
Oh, but d5 here might be an interrupting move, or I'm not sure.
The curious thing is that Anand didn't play it. Usually, this position rises without the rook moves, rook c8 and rook c1. I already said that rook c8 is a little bit of a rare move, and usually, maybe you just spotted something very important, because the rooks now on the board mean that white could maybe play d5. In the position without the rooks being on c1 and c8, d5 is just a pawn that black can grab on d5. And knight g4 is the main idea here or one really important idea to try to release the pressure here. So, I was absolutely shocked that Anand took on f3, and not only me. Swidler did the co-commentary on the Moscow FIDE website, and he was completely stunned that Anand took on f3, because this is so weird in this position. So maybe knight g4 d5 is a point. I'm not sure what they discussed on the website, because I on the live commentary, because I didn't see the first 20 minutes. I only Swidler was going on and on. Why did Anand take on f3? I don't understand it, and so on.
Yeah.
And this is weird. Yeah, knight g4 would be a normal idea. Maybe d5 is a problem here. It's a little bit different, because you've got the rooks on the c file, but still to bishop f3 there's even another alternative, which we could briefly show.
Actually, white will be threatening queen e4 now. Even crudity is returned for white to threaten queen e4, but I suppose knight f6. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah. What you could analyze now is e takes d5, c takes d5, and queen d6, maybe bishop e7, right?
Bishop e7. Oh yes, bishop e7. That looks
so
pretty
maybe
dangerous.
queen d6 is a silly move. Maybe you need to go to b8 or something.
And then actually, isn't bishop h7
then,
move here for queen?
Bishop
f5.
h7 or queen e4, this kind of stuff.
Oh, there's f5 though. Hang on, there's f5 here.
Yeah, you're right.
Maybe I don't know. Queen e4. There's knight f6. I'm not really sure. Okay.
But it's very, very possible that maybe for some reason Anand more or less accidentally inserted this rook c8 move, and was now irritated about d5. This is possible. Just speculating. I have no idea. The thing is that bishop takes f3 is just horrible for black.
It looks bad because black's weakened already his light squares, and he's giving
it's
up.
really horrible. Is maybe too hard a word, but black suffers. Yeah, really.
Yeah.
So, but just if you take it back just one, there's another interesting idea. Just show what kind of ideas this position has. If black could also play h6 here, and then let's say bishop to h4. This makes sense. And then knight h5. This is also a typical idea in those kind of positions, with the idea to play knight to f4.
Yes. So
this is a little bit of an unusual kind of hanging pawn position, because black has got those kind of counterplay ideas. And if the other thing is not working, I was at least expecting this to be played. But maybe, what about d5 now? But then I can play knight f4, yeah?
Maybe there is bishop h7 and queen e4 here. Is that? Oh no, there's knight g6, sorry. There's knight g6, queen e4, knight g6. Okay, yeah.
Queen e4 now I can just play f5. Yeah, I mean, so d5 is not an issue here.
Maybe bishop.
So this would have been another interesting idea, which looks, at least on the first sight, somewhat more attractive than taking on f3.
So is it bishop g3 move?
Yeah, you can just take it, or play knight f4. Or knight f4 looks like a somewhat awkward pin, but just take it. And I think that's it in terms of problems for black. One thing is what black can maybe do here is just, if you take on g3, h takes g3, and then if maybe it's possible just to take the knight on f3 and play e5.
Alright, yeah, trying to establish a knight on c5 if d5, that would be nice.
Yeah, right. This is the kind of idea that black has, and this was also, I think, roughly Vishy's idea here in taking on f3, to play e5 and sort of force the d-pawn to move to get squares on c5 and so on. Yeah. Maybe this is an instant equalizer here, unless white has got something directly here, then this is should be fine. Queen e4 g6 is nothing, maybe? No.
Yeah.
I think this looks fine. So these are kind of typical ideas to generate play here for black. But for whatever reason he took on f3. Maybe this was based on some miscalculation, or he remembered some variation wrongly, or whatever. Hard to tell.
Yeah.
So it's not like black is losing, it's just a very uncomfortable position after this.
Yeah, the two bishops versus the two knights, and hanging pawns are quite dangerous as well.
Yeah, yeah, and the problem is, well, what the move that black would like to play here is, of course, e5. You would like to play e5 here to sort of clarify the center, and something like d takes e5 would be immediately fine for black. But yeah, this is met with bishop f5, the typical kind of response, and you're in some really nasty pins.
Oh yeah, threatening bishop takes f6 now. Yeah, for that pin.
But,
Oh
yeah, this is at least this is one issue. Maybe there's something even worse. But this looks. But no, rook c2 e8. Is it so terrible?
Was also queen h3 might be handy. No, that does look good. I don't know. Yeah, that looks bad for black. Yeah.
Maybe rook e8. Is that possible? Is it so bad?
This position. Don't you just take on f6?
The other one.
Sorry.
The other rook.
Of course.
Yeah, this is. It's not. Maybe c5.
c5. Really?
Maybe c5. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a dangerous pass pawn now, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks dangerous. You cannot really take it twice because of the various things like bishop f6, and I'm not. It didn't calculate here. Yeah, it's just the instant idea that I have.
Isn't it? It's crushing.
Yeah, it looks very dangerous.
King size is dropping off. Yeah, c5. So yeah, absolutely. I see. That might have been the idea then of bishop takes f. Well, so it looks,
maybe there was some misconception there. So he couldn't take it, and he played rook f2 e8, sort of preparing this.
Yes.
And
now just rook.
Now rook. F to d1, very logical. And now, what can black do? He's sitting there with two knights against two bishops.
Yeah.
And it's a quite open position where white has chances to open it up further with c5 at some point, or d5, or whatever.
Yeah.
And you don't really know what to do.
Yeah.
It's really.
If he played h6 here, now what if? So if he plays e5, I guess he'll be punished.
Yeah, I think it's bishop f5 again, and this is even worse because you don't have rook c2 e8 at all.
Yeah. Oh dear. And exerting pressure on d7 off the takes, just maybe.
Yeah, if black now moves the rook, then you've got c5 again. Like rook c to a8 or b8 or whatever, then you have c5
again is strong as well, yes.
Yeah, this looks. Yeah.
I see. So actually, so black was in trouble a bit here. So he plays h6. And now bishop h4, which looks quite a menace now on this diagonal, unchallenged.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not comfortable. Now queen d6. You also must take into account that at this point, I think Gelfand had spent like 25 or 30 minutes, and Anand more than an hour. So somehow he was uncomfortable with this, and it's not quite sure how he really got into this. I mean, the Nimzo wasn't really a surprise. I mean, Gelfand playing knight c3. White playing knight c3 basically means that it's a Nimzo, because everything else is just rubbish in the World Championship match.
Yeah.
So it's a bit strange that he somewhat got wrong-footed here in the opening and got this quite miserable position.
Yeah.
It's quite also maybe a bit of a matter of taste how bad US has this. So the fans of bishops like Swidler in the broadcast, he was basically stating, if I had this position as white, I would want to win. Everything else is unacceptable.
Yeah.
So but it's this is really, this here is exactly the key point maybe of the game.
Yeah.
Gelfand got into a long thing and played c5, which basically wins the queen. But the question is if if white can win or not after this.
Yeah. If he just plays this slowly, say he played bishop b1, just to protect d4 and keep the hanging pawns with hanging threats.
D4 was not really hanging, yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry, because the bishop h7 check.
Yeah, the suggestion in the broadcast was, I think, bishop to g3 to attack the queen, and something along the lines of bishop queen to b4, and then a3.
Oh yes, again that little cheapo with bishop h7 checked.
Yeah, queen a5.
Oh dear, oh dear.
And then bishop b6 was the line that they had in the broadcast as one sample idea.
Oh.
But even this, it's not entirely clear if this is so brilliant for white. White is better in a way, but maybe it was also a consideration on Gelfand's part here. With playing c5, what he did in the game, he basically won the queen for this rook and knight, I think it was. And after the game continuation, you make sure that you can torture your opponent for a couple of moves, and you can absolutely never lose. And the alternatives are just more complicated. And maybe after he just blundered the last game in 17 moves, he was maybe not too keen on having a so complicated position, just one which he cannot lose and he can press on for ages.
I think most people would have thought white's winning here after winning the queen like this. D takes c5. It's like this cheapo has actually been played in the game. And
yeah, it's really debatable. In the broadcast it was interesting. They had Grishuk and Swidler, and both stated that they thought that c5 was maybe objectively a mistake. They wouldn't play this. They both said.
Really?
So they wouldn't win the queen.
It's a matter of keeping the tension. That expression, keeping the tension or not. Your other moves are more complex to keep the tension, but they might be best.
Yeah, but it's these kind of decisions are super difficult. And if you look at the game continuation, maybe we should really put it on the board to show that why white is winning a queen and so on. So it's bishop h7 trick here. And the question is, after rook take d6 here, c1 check, rook d1, rook c8.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this kind of position, this is what Gelfand needed to judge here. How are my winning chances in this kind of position?
Yeah.
And yeah, that's really difficult to judge from the from the position. He had to assess this. What's it, five or six moves ago?
Yeah.
And here it's basically a matter of what kind of setup black can reach. He's got a knight and rook plus a pawn, important pawn on e6.
Yeah.
For the queen. And the question is, can he build up a fortress or can he not do it? And this is not easy to do, to judge. And well, Vishy somehow hold this, but it's not. Shouldn't make a secret of the result. So black managed to draw this position.
Oh, you spoiled it! Oh dear, some people will go nuts. You spoiled it, but no. Okay. No, he's just kidding. Chess is Spain's just kidding. No, we don't know the result.
People know the result. Come on.
Okay. All right. So h3 here. So this fortress concept is very important. You know, Michael Adams, he was playing Hydra, and the only game he drew was when he set up a fortress, putting his king on d3. It's amazing. He drew with the supercomputer Hydra, so it was like 5.5/2. The fortress concept is really important sometimes to secure draws, isn't it? It's an impenetrable fortress. So
especially those kind of positions where you are sort of in trouble and can maybe give up your queen, a bit like in this game. Yeah, you feel in trouble and you give up your queen for, let's say, rook and bishop, rook and Yeah, rook and knight fortresses are somewhat rarer in comparison to rook and bishop. So this is yeah, interesting to see. So knight e5
Yeah.
and knight g6, which is important because it basically forces white to take on f6. He cannot really play bishop g3. I just forgot why. Why
Maybe
couldn't
knight
play this?
e4 is.
No, it was. Yeah, this is also an idea really, but it's rook to c2, rook's a to c2.
Ah,
Yeah, this is instantly drawing because white needs to put the queen somewhere where it keeps d1 protected, and then you can take on d1 and take a2, and then it's an immediate draw.
oh, another pawn for, yeah. I see.
If the a pawn is gone, then it's here. You could even argue that black could try to to do a little bit of probing,
Yeah.
maybe without any success, or most likely without any success. But white cannot win. This is
Yeah.
this is 100% clear. So white after knight g6 is forced to take an f6, and this is important, of course, because white's material just got reduced. And the rooks are exchanged also. So it would, and now really we got this kind of pure fortress position. Can black set up a kind of formation which sort of consists of pieces which protect each other perfectly, and white cannot really penetrate.
Yeah.
And what we should mention here is what would be the ideal kind of fortress for black here is a rook on d5 and a pawn on a5. This would be quite simple to hold because the rook controls the fifth rank, which also kind of stops any ideas from white to push his pawns like g4, f4, h4 and so on. So this kind of fortress would immediately draw, but black cannot set it up.
He plays rook c7, which also protects. This pawn could be a dangerous threat. This a pawn, couldn't it?
The only threat, really. Black's problem is could be a combination of the a pawn, his a pawn on a7, which is a weakness and needs to be protected by the rook, and white somehow pushing up the kingside pawns, and sort of disturbing black's coordination. And what white does now is trying to improve his position a bit, pushing the a pawn. It's very logical to gain some ground there with the a pawn. So in case of you winning the a pawn, your own a pawn is actually advanced.
But this gives the knight chance to centralize quite seemingly powerfully to d5 now.
I think, but he couldn't prevent this.
Okay, so we've got a central
and this knight on d5 is this knight on d5 is the other kind of setup, which is actually the setup I initially thought of to hold this. The knight on d5, and now basically your rook just flipping on c7 and e7, and you're just biding time. But this is also basically what happened.
So it doesn't matter now about queen b7s. That's just ignored queen b7s, because if you take, then you're queening the pawn. But with the knight there, you just leave it there and just do something else.
Yeah, you just ignore it, right?
So king h7, queen d4, which looks like a powerfully centralized queen, but he needs to do something else now if he's going to just. And now this looks a bit risky. This next move from black.
It does, yeah.
I have some engine analysis here. I thought this was a critical moment where if white had any winning chances, personally, I thought this was the moment in the game. According to engines, the move g4 might be a good try, because if you leave this f-pawn, your king's a bit safer on the second rank. I thought g4 here. Should I just show this engine line from analysis earlier? So say
it's very much possible that that white has some idea here, which is maybe winning or very testing for black.
Because it's testing the knight outpost. If you undermine the knight outpost, that's the end of game, isn't it? So say black.
I think in the live broadcast, Swidler was mostly worried about f4 here from black, not taking f4.
Oh right, not taking, just f4.
As you said, computers in fortress positions are not to be trusted. But I see your point. I think maybe this is an idea, because white now can maybe push h4 g5,
Yes.
or combine this, yeah, like queen to e5, h4 h5 g5.
Yes.
You can probe around there.
Yeah.
It's but I think that the difference between playing f4 and g4 and immediately playing g4 is quite difficult to assess in a game, and you also would need to to look at this deeper with the computer to see if there's something.
But here's a line which might give white an say takes, which might not be as good as f4. See, white can then ram that f pawn again, going for f5, and it starts to destabilize. This is just an example variation. That e6 can be a weakness here, for example, like this, and queen f6, and it starts to look a bit rocky now. Black's position. It's about a pawn advantage according to engines, Houdini. It starts to look rocky here, and there's two weaknesses. That's dangerous. So that would be...
white unfortunately has got still a pawn, the g pawn. If you get rid of this pawn, it's immediately a draw. Really difficult. Yeah, it's difficult.
Sorry, this final position, if you think
h and g pawn is exchange is just a draw.
So what would black play here then?
Yeah, I don't know. This looks, it doesn't look comfortable, that's for sure.
Yeah. Okay, but as you say, f4. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I didn't analyze that. Maybe I should have. Sorry, sorry everyone
no
on
idea.
YouTube.
This was just what Swindler mentioned in the broadcast. I was just watching this. I didn't analyze myself. I was just watching this game like watching a game of football or something.
Actually, maybe a sort of king march like this to h5. I don't know. No, I'm not sure. Okay, that's complicated. So f5. Okay, is it asking for g4? Well, he plays f4, which I think if he's going to play g4, it looks very risky now with his king safety, with this knight and the checks everywhere.
Yeah, he wanted to use his pawns similar to the variation you just showed, but he didn't allow this f4 move. I'm not sure if it is good. It was just what was mentioned in the broadcast by Swidler. So okay, let's go on rook d7. Black just bides time.
So king
and white intended to bring his king to h4.
This is an invitation for queen h8 right here. That's quite dramatic, but it's not doing anything deadly on h8 just here.
Yeah, funny enough. Yeah, it's not doing much. It looks scary, right?
So knight f6 protecting g8 from any check. So queen goes around the board, and now h5, a committal pawn move maybe, but and now an interesting king move, king h4. Interesting position. Yeah,
white is trying something here. It's not like he doesn't have any ideas. One idea would be to bring his queen to g5, like queen b3, g3, g5.
Yeah.
And sort of destabilizing the position. But we would see Black has an amazing resource here. To be seen.
Oh yes, he's trying to get round to g3 to g5. Yeah. So knight e4 stops queen g3. So queen c8 looks dangerous. Knight f6. Now queen b8. Sorry, did I miss the amazing resource? Sorry, should I have rewind?
Yeah. just two moves here. Let's say queen c3 you put on the board. Yeah.
Yeah.
Knight to e4. And let's look at queen h8 just for a moment.
Queen h8.
Yeah. Now just to show the idea.
Yeah.
If black would, let's say black plays rook d6 here, which looks completely insane.
But it's giving up h5. You saw rook d6. Just queen takes h5.
Yeah, right. Let's put it on the board. Rook d6. Just some move to stay on the d file. Queen takes h5. King G7, and black is winning.
Black's winning. Rook
D8 to H8 is not avoidable here.
Oh, blimey. Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the really... 8 pawn. No, this looks bad for the king. The king looks a bit silly here. It's not able to get back. The knight and the pawn are embarrassing the king.
Two moves and white cannot do anything. It's amazing. It's a really amazing, amazing resource here.
Absolutely, yeah. Blimey. So this H5 pawn isn't so... It's more of a bait than a weakness. It's a bait to get a very silly position if he wants to take it.
Yeah, and it was quite funny in this broadcast because Swindler was always a little bit of doubting if this general position would hold for black, and maybe he's got some problems and so on. And when he spotted this trick, which he did pretty quickly, I was really impressed. Yeah. And he said, okay, if you can even give up the H pawn with check, then this is a draw.
Yes. Absolutely, blimey, that's quite convincing evidence.
Really a cool. But okay, on Queen H8, Rook D6 is a bit of a silly move, maybe. But just to show the idea, it was coming up in different other lines, in some other lines. So black really doesn't even need to defend the H pawn. Funny enough. All right, so Queen C8 we got.
Yeah. So knight f6. So maybe Gelfand's gutted. He's realised that fortress time, is it? He's probably realised by now. Okay, there's nothing I can do, perhaps, but he's still going to do a few questions. So Queen B8.
He's trying his utmost here. Yeah.
Okay. So now Rook E7, and now another committal pawn move. Then G4. Whoa! He is trying something again here.
The last try.
Okay, so G4, if he gets in G5, that will be very horrible for the black king safety, with Queen G8 like mating probably. So it has to be taken, and it's two choices to take. But knight G4, I suppose there's Queen G8 winning, isn't it, on the spot?
Queen G8, G5 wins the rook.
Ah, yes, wins the rook. Yep. So he has to take with the pawn. Okay, so pawn sack for Queen E5, which looks dangerous for Queen G5 to win the knight for a moment, but the knight simply retreats here, offering back the G pawn, and G pawn.
As you see, it's all hanging by a thread here. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because the knight's protecting E7, so the check and the check here, it doesn't matter. The knight's protecting E7.
Yeah, it looks all very close. Yeah, like maybe some refinement at some point. So I'm not sure. Maybe they find something later with deeper analysis how white could do something before. Now I thought now it's really it's gone. It's over.
The tension's gone. This is why the expression "maintaining the tension" is profoundly powerful, because I think a lot of club players often simplify, and they had this position where they could have just increased and tortured the opponent a lot more, but once you reach a clarified position, then there's nothing you can do sometimes, well, especially like a fortress. So
now f6, and you've got this everything protects each other kind of situation.
So Queen G2, King can even go back now to H8 to support maybe checks if needed. But trying to win. So Queen
Black wants to threaten something himself.
Yeah.
For once.
Yeah, and the king just goes back now, and here, well, everything's protecting. Yeah, the knight's protecting the rook's protecting the pawn. King's.
Yeah, black just makes king moves now.
White's last pawn move try is a bit pointless, I think, isn't it? F5. Do you take that pawn, or you don't want to leave that pawn, do you? If you play E5, that's probably very dangerous, isn't it?
You can play E5 to try to win with black, but maybe it's not justified. E takes F5 is just a draw, huh?
Yeah. But, okay, say if this is not dangerous to check here. I suppose, again, you've got a fortress here, and you've just got this dangerous pass pawn now.
yeah, you can easily, not easily maybe, but you can try to lose with white.
Yeah, in fact, check and rook G7 will win the queen here. So the king and queen are stupid in this position, but not the greatest.
Yeah, yeah, a bit. I think it's really over in terms of winning chances. Maybe this could have been, if we look at this match later when it will be finished with whatever result. If Gelfand doesn't win the match, this maybe was the game where he spoiled it. Maybe.
Oh dear. So
maybe
Fortress.
it's just like he got this really great position out of the opening.
Two
but
bishops.
we're already in recap mode here. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's unfortunate because he had the two bishops, dangerous hanging pawns. All right, let's do an overview and summary then. So a Nimzo-Indian kind of little disaster, but Anand seemed to come out of that disaster with the idea of a queen sack for a fortress, which was plunged into. Maybe White should have exercised some caution and maintained the tension more, because he did, in theory, have bishop pair, this hanging pawns, constant threats of c5 and d5, so a quiet way of playing the position. His rook's very harmonious, so the quiet way of playing the position would have been just to kick that queen with bishop g3. As you say, that did look impressive to celebrate the dark squares. Very simply, you know, sometimes, yeah. So c5 looks very, very tempting, though. I think most players in club chess would play c5 here, wouldn't they, to try and exploit that queen?
It's really hard to tell. If I ask myself, what would I have done? I'm not sure. Really can't tell. I think it's pretty clear if you see the line with the win of the queen, which happened in the game. You see that, okay, you can never lose with White. You have some chances to win, but if you do you really have some concrete winning chances? Hard to tell. I think I wouldn't have played, and I also think Gelfand wouldn't have played c5 if this would have been, let's say, the last game and he needs to win it. Everything else is unacceptable, like a must-win situation. Then he certainly wouldn't have played c5. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Because it's very obvious, of course, also to him that White is better in the middle game with bishop g3 or even some other move. But c5 is the kind of move you can play in this match situation where draw is not bad and you certainly won't lose, which is also pretty nice feature of a chess game if you know that you don't lose. So.
But this position does look ridiculous if queen b4 and a3 and you can't take that, and you have to play. It's like your queen's like a computer queen. What is it doing on a5? It just looks like an ideal position. It's interesting.
Yeah, queen a5 supports e5.
Of course, this is the thing to nullify the bishops, isn't it? Once you get d5 and that knight c5 at some point. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say bishop d6. What the line that they had in the broadcast, and then the e5 idea again. And this is a bit different. If you black now e5. E5?
sorry. I've played. Did you see e5?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. D5
yeah,
or c5?
Yeah. Now this is different from the positions before where White could have gone bishop f5. So bishop f5 is pointless here.
Right.
Because we've got this somewhat different bishop on d6, and this isn't entirely clear.
Right.
Really.
In fact, there's a cheapo here, isn't there? With rook takes c4. Sorry, I'm thinking of back row. No, excuse that. Sorry, I had an illusion there. No, there isn't a cheapo. No, potentially on e1. If the rook was on e1, then there's a cheapo. Because the queen's actually doing...
if you play e takes d4 here on bishop f5, then this is maybe a thing.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
It's difficult. Same.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. So this looks great as well to win the queen, but amazing. An exciting draw though. A very exciting draw because most people would have perhaps thought White.
Yeah, an interesting game. After those kind of, I'm not sure, narcotic first 6 games, we got some pretty interesting chess the last 3 games, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, Black was setting up an amazing fortress, and even the h5 wasn't such a liability as we saw in that amazing variation. Could be a bait. So, White tried something at the end. He did try, and here it starts to look a bit dangerous. Even if he blunders. So yeah, draw. Okay, exciting. Hope everyone on YouTube got something out of that. Thanks, Chris. I don't know if there's anything else you want to say. Otherwise,
yeah, maybe we can do a quick discussion what will happen tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
we've got game. What is it? 10 tomorrow. Anand White.
yeah.
So what kind of opening will we get? I did guess the Nimzo correctly yesterday, so I'd like to guess again and not having that people tell me that I was just making this up, that I guessed correctly. So I'll guess again. So I predict the Queen's Gambit decline tomorrow.
Do you? I'll predict E4 then. Anand could play E4. He's white. Why doesn't he try E4 to liven things up? No? Would that be so
E4
terrible?
to make a draw, you mean? E4 is far more drawish than E4, so... Yeah, this is really a common misconception that E4 would be sharper than D4 or any crap like this. This is much more drawish, actually. Okay, let's not get into this. Okay, I just say that Gelfand doesn't go for any G6 setups again and will play Queen's Gambit decline tomorrow. Or maybe we got a Nimzo again with reverse colors. It's possible. But I say Queen's Gambit declined.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, thanks for watching. I hope the audio has been fine.
Yes. I hope so.
Try to improve what we could do. All right.
Okay. Okay, everyone. We'll carry on next game. Hope to see you there. All right. Thanks very much. Comments or questions on YouTube on both our channels, Chess Explained and King's Crusher channels. Thanks very much.